man with a brilliant moustache here is a Moldavia and Jewish violinist, violist, and composer called Heinrich Wilhelm Ernst. He was the one that created this lovely piece that left many violinists destroying their fingers and having several breakdowns. This is just a metaphor, by the way. He makes significant contributions to music, particularly for the violin. He was one of the few that created advanced violin techniques and pioneered challenging techniques like the double stops, harmonics, pizzicato, and complex bowing, inspiring future violinists to expand their technical skill. Furthermore, he made great amount of influence in violin pedagogy, as many of his works continue to be a cornerstone in advanced violin studies, shaping violin technique and interpretation in the Romantic style. But the most famous contribution was that he advanced polyphonic playing and developed unique approaches to compose polyphonic music for the violin. One of the few famous pieces that Ernst composed are the Otello Fantasy, Grand Caprice on Schubert's Old-Cornet, and of course, The Last Rose of Summer. A nice fun fact is that Ernst was one of Paganini's greatest successors. Yes, the man, the myth, and the devil violinist himself, Niccolo Paganini. And boy was Ernst very, very passionate to study under Paganini. Ernst would go as far as eavesdropping in Paganini's rehearsals and even secretly booking a hotel room next to Paganini during tour just to understand Paganini's methods, technique, and many more. But thanks to those questionable activities, Ernst adapted Paganini's virtuosity, added to his emotive style, to create a lyrical, expressive approach to virtuosic violin music. The Last Rose of Summer was the number 6 in the collection of polyphonic studies that Ernst created. Not much is said, but the piece itself was allegedly dedicated to an Italian violin virtuoso called Antonio Bazzini. The piece was based on an Irish folk tune with a similar name, and it is said that Ernst was inspired by the tune itself. In addition, the folk tune itself began as a poem by Thomas More. Like the name itself, the poem depicts the storytelling nature of youth and life, which leaves the individual in the poem craving for love and companionship. This piece consists of a grand introduction, a sweet nostalgic theme, and 4 astounding variations. Ernst borrowed and incorporated the main melody of the Irish folk tune into the theme and the 4 variations. In the first variation, we can see that Ernst incorporated ornament melodies such as trills, turns, and grace notes into the original melody. This simple change managed to maintain the melody while allowing the ornaments to highlight the emotional nuances of the theme. It managed to create a sense of yearning and nostalgia into this variation. As for the lush and sonorous second variation, it introduces double stops, requiring the performer to play 2 strings simultaneously. This managed to give a more deep melody while reflecting the theme's sentimentality. In the third variation, the rapid arpeggios take the stage. The rapid arpeggios evoke a sense of movement, and the performer can explore and bring out the playful character of the variation itself. The challenge itself focuses on the rapid arpeggios that require smooth fingerings and even bow strokes. And finally, the excruciating 4th variation. This particular variation features a combination of the left-hand pizzicato and the bowed melody itself. It requires the violinist to switch between the techniques fluidly. The variation features a lively rhythmic texture where the left-hand pizzicato brings back the main sweet melody while contrasting the grandioso bowed melody. The variation expresses a playful character, highlighting the dialogue between 2 techniques while maintaining the obvious in the musical line. I have previously mentioned that this piece was based on an Irish folk tune, hence the melody is associated with an Irish cultural identity. What's more fascinating is that Ernst is not Irish himself and was just inspired by this melody. It is said that composers from the Romantic era often incorporate folk music into classical compositions. Examples such as Chopin, Sibelius, Dvorak, and countless more composers that show nationalism in their music. Well, why did composers incorporate folk music into their music? Well, exactly why did folk music is integrated into classical music? Well, just one simple answer is to express national identity. But it also evokes emotional resonance and introduces unique melodies and rhythms. By reflecting cultural heritage, folk tunes allow composers to connect deeply with audiences while conveying relatable emotions. And with that, Ernst chose The Last Rose of Summer to continue this tradition. Based on the many historical information I provided just now, we both know that romantic and national identity play a big role in this. The Last Rose of Summer uses a familiar Irish tune which Ernst used to connect both romantic fascination and national identity. The technical complex work such as this emphasizes deep emotion and individuality instead of just virtuosic. This allows the audience such as us to resonate emotionally in terms of both historical and modern. Another important historical context that affects the listeners is knowing the presence of the virtuosic and influence of Paganini himself. Ernst pays a great homage to Paganini, who set a high standard for virtuosic violin performances. Understanding this influence enhances the appreciation for these pieces' technical demands such as the left-hand pizzicato and the rapid arpeggios. Recognizing that these techniques were once groundbreaking illuminates Ernst's intent to astonish and captivate his audience. I know I've been constantly saying that it is a very challenging piece, and the reason is because of the technical and emotional duality of this piece. With that knowledge, it enhances the audience appreciation of the performers who can balance both the requirements of the technical challenges and an emotional expressiveness of this piece itself. What a hard piece. So how does historical context actually affect musicians' interpretation? Well, we all know that Romantic era's emphasis on emotional intensity suggests that interpretation should prioritize expressive phrasing and dynamic contrast. Understanding the Romantic context encourages performers to bring out the melancholy and nostalgic qualities of the Irish folk tune, allowing each variation to explore different emotion, rather than playing it as a purely technical piece. Performers are encouraged to use rubato, dynamic shaping, and many more that conveys deep sentiment, aligning with the romantic ideal of music as an emotional journey. In addition to knowing that this piece has a connection to folk and national identity, highlighting the tune's origin as a beloved Irish folk song encourages performers to play the opening theme with simplicity and sincerity, and gradually building complexity while respecting its roots. Historically inspired audience connection is also important to take note for musicians. In the 19th century, audience expect music to captivate with the balance of both emotional tolling and difficult feat of techniques. Modern interpreters are aware of this, can be creative by making tempo changes, phrasing, and dynamics to maximize the contrast and surprise, which aims to create the same kind of impact on the modern audience. In conclusion, Ernst's The Last Rose of Summer captures a profound sense of nostalgia, blending technical challenges with emotional depth that resonates across generations. And with that knowledge, it manages to expand our perspective and interpretation of this as an audience or musician. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this video.